I'm Bond, Billy the Builder Bond.
He's back in action. Local 007 in a new Billy the Builder Union Built Matters Spectacular. And this is what Union Built Matters is all about. Building it right, safe, and built to last.
Who are you?
I'm Bond, Billy the Builder Bond.
Live from Paradise Studios in Massapequa, Long Island, it's the Buzz Talk Live Show.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Buzz Talk Live. And thank you again for sharing your Sunday night with me. And as a reminder, we are multi-streaming on Facebook and YouTube. So smash that like and subscribe button and post a chat if you want. And I'll be monitoring the chats during the show. And hopefully we get enough of chats during this episode. First off, I do want to mention, before I start the show, I do want to mention a documentary that I produced about a year ago. We finished the documentary, and it was about a legendary stuntman, Kim Kahana. And this man was incredible. He spent 72 years in Hollywood doing all sorts of stunts and coordination for the industry, and he was a mentor to a lot of his students. He had a stunt school in Groveland, Florida, and so the tie-in, the reason why I'm talking about Kim Kahana is that he was part of the show. That's how I got to know Mr. Kahana. And he recently passed away at 94. And he's a decorated Korean War veteran of 2 Purple Hearts and a Silver Star. Incredible person, to meet and to be a part of in his company. And I tell you, I was blessed, and my whole team was blessed to really to know him and just to be a part of the production of creating this this legacy. It's now, this film has turned into a legacy for him and his family, and with the help of Senia and the family, it's just been an incredible ride for all of us. The film is called Kim Kahana, The Man Who Changed Hollywood, and is now streaming on Amazon Prime. So please, you know, continue to watch Buzz Talk Live, but you know, maybe tune in. And it's an incredible story. It's a feature-length documentary about this man, and yeah, I just want to say that we were really blessed that he was part of our lives at that time. It took 2.5 years to create this. And now it's streaming. So cheers to you, Mr. Kahana. So tonight, well, tonight's going to be a great show. And I love the segue, but tonight's going to be a great show. We welcome back a returning guest back to Buzz Talk Live. He has an incredible personality, and he's evolved over years of being a sought after influencer on social media with the Union Built Matters. He has many roles. He had many roles in the advertising space, and an award-winning editor spanning over 30 years. But recently, social media knows him as Billy the Builder Bond, or Billy the Builder. So there's no stopping him. Please welcome Billy Senia to Buzz Talk Live. How you doing, Billy?
How you doing, Buzz?
Good.
First of all, thanks for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. And you know, I just right off the bat, you came from a long way. You came from Connecticut to here in Massapequa in the Paradise Studios, and I can't thank you enough for being here.
Well, it's paradise.
It is paradise.
And I didn't have to battle the Van Wyck, which I just love saying, Van Wyck.
The Van Wyck.
So,
there's many stories going on about the Van Wyck and
Yeah.
traffic and all that situation.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, no,
It's
this is awesome that you're here, and you're a longtime friend of mine, and we've been through the wars together and growing up and seeing each other's success through the years and everything, and we're going to get all into that. But you know, when you were on the show during COVID,
Yeah.
that, you know, I created the show during COVID, and you were, I think, I don't know if you were number 20 or something, maybe guess
Probably
20.
around that.
Yeah.
I watched every one.
That's
I was
okay. You
I was
can keep
happy to be
saying-
on it. No, it is what it is. I don't really watch much stuff, but I enjoyed it. It was
Yeah.
good. It was perfect. It was perfect timing. The world was built around that. Nobody was
Yeah, I
going
mean,
anywhere.
at that time, you know, I chose a lot of people in the industry that I worked with, and to fill gaps and
Yeah.
and to get my chops down. And I tell you, when I interviewed you, because of your rich history in advertising and everything as an editor, it was just incredible just to listen to your stories. And then, you know, obviously your personality is just off the charts. You know.
Agree to disagree.
Well, man, I agree.
I'm a little. You just keep me on track.
I know. It's working.
And for you folks at home, he will keep me on track.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
I'll go off. Whee!
No, but at that time, I think, you know, you were, we were all finding, you know, different things to do during COVID.
Yeah.
And one of the things that, you know, I don't know what you were doing exactly during COVID, but you were available, and I was able to get you, and it was a great show, and it was fantastic that, you know, you were part of it. Like I said in my open, you were a big-time editor in advertising, award-winning stuff. You worked with all the big agencies out there. So you traveled the world. What in the agency scope of working and taking work from the agencies and editing, what do you think was your best work in that space?
So I'll try to edit while I'm talking.
Edit while you,
because
you edit in frames, if I remember.
then it's frames, and then when it went to video, it's feels. So a frame equals 2 feels. Those are technical, but really quick editing. Somebody would give me a job. You start somewhere. You start in shipping. but shipping was also, you would handle a lot of film elements. And my background was film, minor, major was business. And then the agency aspect of it, once they would give you a storyboard, these agencies would talk to a client. So, for example, Pepsi would be the client. The agency would work for Pepsi. And then the agency would hire, well, who's a good director? Who's a good editor, music person, et cetera.
Right.
And so I always was very respectful to the storyboard of the client and the agency. The agency really came up with a storyboard. They'd sit there for months and this. So I would always edit the storyboard. But I would also, I wanted to be the best.
Right.
So I would stay all through the night and do a version the way I saw it. So when I presented it, I was, here's the board. They go, yay, that's great. But I would say respectfully, can I show you what I...
Right, sure.
And that's my claim to fame.
Yeah.
Showing it another way. You become complacent. You can see something,
Right.
and it could always be there and go, well, I never saw it that way.
Right.
It could be turning somebody upside down, and it would work.
Right. Well, I mean, you've grown into, at that time, because I'm not going to go all the way back at first edition when you were there, but at that time, you developed your chops, and and you were really giving your artistic flair to every project that you were involved in.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah.
Right. And so you were valuable to the agencies because, and that's why you've lasted so long in that space.
Yeah, and still, I didn't immediately jump into cutting commercials. My whole thing was working 9 to 6, and then from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. Literally, when you're young, you can stay up all night. It doesn't matter. I would work with every editor to do anything, splice pieces of film. Yes, it was film. I'm dating myself. Just practice splicing, putting shots together, and all of a sudden, somebody said, hey, could Billy, I was ghost cutting. They would go, could Billy cut this thing? And he goes, yeah, man, he's been doing it for the past 3 months. So really, literally, I superseded in 1 year. And I had the opportunity, I just took it on myself. I go, I'm going to become this. It even dictated when we were getting married. I've been married 36 years. Yeah. I'm not getting married till I become this. And we did. 36 years of married. Hi, honey.
Yeah. Well, no, that's great. We do have some chats coming in. Fran is on. Thank you, Fran, for watching. And Carla Jackson is on. Thank you. Hi, Carla. And Fran again. Yes, rest in peace, Mr. Kahana. So, getting back to when you evolved, all right, love that word, evolved from the editing world to now you became a personality, and it started early on doing, you have your SAG card, so it's early on doing like some commercials, some raw stuff, some local stuff.
Right.
And now you've taken what you've learned from back then and you evolved into this other personality now. You've teamed up. Well, before I get into that, I do want to show a spot. This Teledyne LaCroix spot. It's a unit of measurement that the professional broadcasters use. Now, before we show the spot, which is hysterical, did you know anything about this piece of gear that you were pitching?
No, it was a box.
It was a box.
It was a very expensive box. Actually, the box was actually even used in Lord of the Rings.
Oh, for editing purposes?
Yeah, it had something to do with it, but this is not like a consumer product.
Right.
So when I was holding this thing, cradling it like a baby, there was multiple versions. They were just like, oh, please don't drop it. I go, look, I didn't drop my kid. I'm not going to drop the box.
Right.
So, but
well, it is an expensive box.
It's an expensive piece of equipment.
Yeah. All right, so let's show the Teledyne spot.
What's your sign? Teledyne LaCroix HDO for 2. Yes. Oh, you're a Virgo. We're compatible.
Precious.
It's okay. Do-si-do. Ready? I'm right here. It's a fly. Horizontal, vertical. Horizontal, vertical. Oh, I had to do that. I'm rolling.
rolling, rolling, rolling. Keep your. All right. Okay. Back to that. Clean, crisp waveforms. Whoa. Who's doing that? Can you hear me? Have some more, please. Who's doing that? Oh, Richard. I'm falling. Oh, wait. Ready? And he can't read without spitting. I feel like my mother-in-law. La. Who's doing that? Oh, I almost pulled my spleen on that one. Teledyne LaCroix, HDO. You make me so. Hey, how you doing, everybody? Anybody from Cleveland? Very happy. And I'm so glad you. Who's doing that? Came into my life. Nobody's doing that. Nobody.
It's just a funny spot.
You know, I've seen that spot. Now, I ran that spot during the first show of COVID. And every time I watch that spot, I'm on the floor. I'm laughing on the floor because a lot of that stuff was really
if I may, they gave me 7 bullet points.
right.
It has 16 scan lines. It has sound waves, etc. I just took that, and we got a tremendous studio. And I have to tell you, the hardest part about that job, first of all, I'm selling a box that the industry knows, but not the consumers, and that's
Correct.
fine. It became an international hit because when they had a conference out in wherever, all people were going, because I'm like, who's doing that? Was a line I came up with, and you would have the Japanese section going, oh, I wasn't there, but they told me all about it. Say, oh, Billy, who doing that? You know, and the Italians like, who's doing that? You know, so you had every country, and still to date, I'm on, like I was mentioning, I think we were talking about earlier, there are subway stations,
Yes.
and my poster is up there. And
Still today.
Still today. And it's, I want to go there just to see it, but then like, and then what do I do? so I need some frequent flyer points.
Yeah, you definitely
but the point is it was a blast doing it, and I had an opportunity and to do that. And it was.
That's good stuff, man.
If you could sell a box, you could sell anything.
Well, you're the ultimate pitch man. I mean, you know, to take an item or a subject matter and just go off on it. The box didn't move. The box was there. You were running around the box and pitching it, and that's awesome.
And to backtrack what you said about evolve.
Right.
So I just didn't jump from behind the camera to in front.
Right.
The issue, what got me there was doing scratch voiceovers. So whenever I was meaning in filmic jargon, when you're editing, you don't have a voiceover. So I would have to record myself as a flat, you know, like a box spring.
Right.
And then I would use my voice. But if it was like that of a child, I would speak like a child or a goofy little kid. And I was never an announcer. I took some speech classes later, but then I realized I don't know how to speak after they would teach me how to talk. So I was casted as a dry rye regular guy. But I got my so-called in front of the camera from doing a lot of voiceover work. Eventually I got a casting agent, and then they put me in front.
I think being an editor too helps you in that regard, because as an editor, you're constantly seeing clips hundreds of times to edit them, and you're picking out different types of personalities and how it could be any clip. It could be a commercial, soda commercial, whatever. But as an editor, you're putting yourself watching that screen all the time, editing these clips. It gives you. I mean, you've always had a personality too. That's besides the point. But anyway, let's move on to Massive. Now, the Massive agency reached out to you.
Massive is something I started.
So you partnered with somebody?
Yes.
Okay.
With a partner, and we have one client, and I don't need 10. Sometimes you just need one, and it was strictly for union construction.
Right.
That's it. And I had there was a person that I was the unions digitally don't have any kind of representation.
Right.
What do they have? Everybody knows this. Whoever's watching. You go to Manhattan or somewhere else, you see a blown up rat, and you got a bunch of workers and people with pitchforks. It looks like a Frankenstein movie. And I said, why don't we do something digitally? Let's have a social media presence. And I didn't want to run commercials to produce, write, air, because one commercial would blow a whole entire budget. Right. So social media, love it or not, embrace it, get on the train.
Yeah.
In business, if you don't, you can't. So I was able to reach a monster following, set records.
And because of that, you've now, part of that partnership now with Massive, that you made, you took on Union Built Matters, and then you created the persona of Billy the Builder. Yeah.
So we did eventually, to me, what did Nike start out with? Nike started out with Nike spelled N-I-K-E. Right. All of a sudden you saw a check. Me now, it's a hard hat, which, if I may,
please
have the feature, a lot of respect. Camera, yeah. And here's a lot of the unions that I represent in 6A and 20 and 6. It's beautiful. Yeah. So there's our logo.
You wore that on.
A logo, yeah. So I said, so I did hire somebody to go out there, and I didn't want to take away work. I'm not an actor. I'm a union guy. I'm just Billy. But I'm like, Billy the Builder seemed like it rang. So I decided to just take it to the streets. So I did on my own, I did a promo little piece to show the unions, and this is how we won the account. Went into with a good friend Ralph at Astor Place in New London, and he got me up and put me right. MoMA was in the background, and I was like, hey, I'm here on the street just asking what a union is. Right. So my whole key was educating what a union is. Unions have a bad rap, the word. When everybody thought, but now look how hip unions are now. I'm not saying it's because of me, even though we have 13 million followers just on one social platform.
And a lot of these buildings in Manhattan, which I didn't even know, a lot of them are non-union. They're constructed with non-union workers.
Right, and I'm not here to bash, and we're not advertising. This is all about everything we're doing right in life and stuff. But these are people that need jobs, and not all non-union is bad.
Right.
When I first started, I had the option to be in the TV production union, and I was working for a non-union company, and they were just fine. So there are good non-union shops, but what you get at a union, it's fact. You're a journey person.
Everybody has a special.
It's safety, and there's a reason why if you're holding a cable or you're doing a drill or iron work or plumber, and that's what they're doing, they do it. It's the best. It's safety. It's everything, and I believe in it. It doesn't seem sexy. OSHA. Yeah, it doesn't seem like for me. It doesn't seem sexy. I mean, I'm editing and working on high fashion. Victoria's Secret, Maidenform. Yeah. Remember that? Well, as a kid, this is rated PG. I shouldn't say it's a brassiere, if anybody knows what it is. I like that. I went old school. I went old school.
That's really old.
So the union project was. It seemed I believe in it, and I'm still doing it. I mean, the social is just out of control.
Well, I do have a clip, and this is hysterical too. Again, man on the street stuff, but you do, and this is it's clipped, so you've edited this clip for me, and it shows 33 Bond, which we'll see a little, and then the Leaning Tower of Pizzarati, you call it, and so let's run that clip.
Billy the Builder here, the voice of Union Built Matters. 33 Bond Union Building. Did it add value? Did it add jobs? Hiring local people?
It adds value, it adds jobs to, the local people here. Because when things are more organized and more clean, then people tend to want to keep it that way.
It's great that buildings like this go back to the community. Are you in the union?
Yeah, I am. I'm Local 2790.
Local 2790 right here. Union Built Matters.
Billy the Builder, big concern. Right there, the Leaning Tower of Pizzarati. What's the problem with it? It's 8 centimeters leaning this way. Watch. Whoop, like big gust of wind. It's coming down. That building has been stopped. Construction was halted in 2018. The more you build, the more it's going to come down. First of all, if it was union built, it wouldn't be leaning 8 centimeters. I'd like to see when they put the infinity pool in there. Where the heck is the water going to go? You know where it's going to go? It's going to be right there in the East River. We're going to go on the other side. This ain't working. Well, what are we going to do about it? 670-foot structure leaning, and nobody is concerned about it. See that building?
Yeah.
That building's leaning.
It's what?
It's leaning.
This building is leaning. That's a problem. I'm not even gonna come down this street again.
Do you walk around here?
Yeah, we do. Why? What's happening?
It's the Leaning Tower of Pizzarati.
Okay, it means it's structurally unsound?
Yeah.
That's not good.
Who do you think built it, union or non-union?
A non-union.
I'm going to go say with non,
Why?
because it's cheap.
And not thought out. Or people didn't give a
Silence! Thank you. Do you always walk over here?
No.
Good. Do you think unions would cut down on safety?
No. You can't put a Band-Aid over a stitch.
Union built, it's safety first.
Union built matters.
Union built matters.
Union built matters.
Union built matters.
Union built matters. Everybody, union built matters. You know the words? Union built matters.
Who are you?
I'm Billy the Builder. Union built matters. Built right, built safe, built to last.
That's hysterical. Billy, I tell you, you really gave the master class on my man on the street. Just by watching this stuff, and these are clips, so there's like a full run of this stuff on Union Built Matters social and all that. So I don't understand one thing. Oh, I do understand. I understand the whole concept. I think it's brilliant. The Billy the Builder bond, though, that was for like one episode.
Yeah, that was just one episode.
That was one episode.
Yeah, I want to be, when I write them, and again, a lot is ad-lib and played off the people on the street.
Right.
But each one has a story. I educated people on Green Street in Manhattan, what a non-union building, it's 11 Green Street.
Right.
What's an NDA? It's a non-disclosure agreement.
Right.
But I wasn't James Bond. I wasn't Billy the Builder Bond. I was trying to educate people. I go, why'd you sign one?
Right.
Do you even know what it is?
Yeah.
I asked 50 people in New York. They didn't know. And then the ones that did know go, yeah, it's like shady. Why would you want to sign one? So one building was a non-union building. They're paying an enormous amount of money. And you walk in there, and of course I couldn't show this edit because they would have sued me, but I walked in talking to the concierge, and I'm like, the place smells like, it's death in here. What's that sound? And they're paying an enormous amount of money, and they can't get out because they signed an NDA. So that was just one clip. That was 11 Green. Pizzarati, that's the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Right.
If you've seen it in Italy,
Right. Yeah.
that building is on the South Street Seaport. It's about to fall down or catch on fire.
Is it still in that condition?
It is still conditioned. New York City stopped it. The fire department, NYFD. It is now truly a fire hazard.
So what are they going to do?
That can literally. And so I was Billy, the builder, going, "Do you walk around here?" And so I think the clip showed like, "No, I'm not even gonna walk down this block." I mean, they are the community. There's a lot of people that live there. It's a tourist section there. But there's a lot of people who work there and are nervous about it.
Wow.
So I'm here also promoting this because why do we always have to wait for something to happen?
Right.
I did an article on Rust. That's Baldwin. That was a non-union set.
Right.
These union guys walked off.
Right.
That shouldn't happen.
That shouldn't happen.
This building could catch on fire. Shouldn't happen.
Well, that's a whole nother story.
Miami Surfside.
Yeah.
That collapsed. That shouldn't happen.
That shouldn't happen.
And what happened? My article went viral, and what happened was that whole strip of the beach, miles, every building's inspected.
Wow.
So you see, I'm trying to help. Why wait for a disaster to happen?
Yeah.
So bond was just to cap it, you had a Bond Street Hotel Residential, and then you had the Ace Hotel. They're both on Bond. They're on Bond Street.
Yeah.
So I figured, why not make a comparison? Bond, Billy the Builder Bond. That's it.
Fran is chiming in, and she's like, "That's some scary crap."
It is.
which is true. I mean, you know, you take it. Well, look, nowadays with New York, you take your life in your hands, but you have to look up now because if a building might fall on you. I mean, you know,
yeah, it's I can always tell when I walk by a union site versus a non.
Right.
Now there are open shops where they'll hire, and I'm all for that. You get some good non-union people mix. Why can't we all work together? I know I sound like whatever, but let's just work together.
Yeah.
But it's true though.
It is.
But you have to have the skills and the training, period.
Yeah, and that's what, you know,
Period.
Union Built Matters, that's what they, that's what they're
It's
all
safety
about.
always first,
safety
and
first.
yeah,
Safety always.
absolutely, it's scary.
Julia Marino is an Olympic snowboarder.
Took the
and-
silver in the Winter Games this past.
Yeah. So the tie-in with Julia now with Massive.
Yeah.
Talk about.
So it's basically Union Built Matters. I know the kid since she was like, you know, up to my knee, and the dad John is like awesome, and basically her point, and I told her, look, this is what I want. She knows what we're doing for. She's on social. I mean, she's got 100,000, 200,000 followers. The whole purpose was about a team. Right. That's what a union is. It's a marriage.
Right.
It's a team.
Right.
So being that she was on the Olympic team, it made sense. I go, hey, Jules, can you talk about what you do?
Right.
Like this is an individual sport. There's no team when you're flying in the air doing like loop-a-doops. No. So
we have a spot of Julia with the tie-in. So let's run that.
Hi everyone, my name is Julia Marino. I'm an American slopestyle snowboarder. At this past Winter Olympics in Beijing, I took home a silver medal, a goal that I've been working on for several years. And after achieving that goal and reflecting on the process, I was just reminded of how grateful I am for the love and support I've had throughout this entire journey from my family, my friends, teammates, coaches, and so many more along the way. And it's just a reminder that to achieve goals like that one, or like making New York City the greatest city in the world, you need a solid team of people striving for that same outcome. And it's not something that's done alone. So that's why I support New York City construction unions and their hard work for the best results. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you're having a wonderful day.
That's good. That's great.
Team.
Yeah.
I mean,
it
takes a team. It takes a village of people. Yeah. You're flying in that air. Like I said, it's the team around her, the trainers, all the people to make that happen. You can't do it solo.
No, you can't. Especially, you know, with a union. Again, I'm not a union member, but I do work alongside unions, and it's true. You know, everything is about safety. Everybody has their specialty and their job, and they do it well. And you have to work together, and that's really important.
It is.
Going back to a little bit about some of the celebrities that you were.
Wait, can we go back to Fran?
Oh yeah, Fran.
Because Fran, looking up for Jules is scary. It may be more scary than looking at the Empire State Building from the ground up. Sorry, I just had to kind of throw that in.
Yeah, I'm sure she appreciates it.
For her, it's baby steps, but you build to that. Sorry, I apologize.
That's okay.
Won't happen again. We'll edit that out later.
I'm sure she loves that. As an editor, as a film and commercial editor that you were in contact with a lot of different celebrities.
Oh yeah.
You know, and traveled the world and all that stuff.
I was lucky because it was the transitional period between commercials and music videos.
Right. That's right. That's right.
So MC Hammer, there's a lot of artists I've worked with. Basically, they go, we're doing a commercial. Pepsi's pumping a lot of money into doing Michael Jackson and Michael J. Fox and Menudo.
Right.
Don't want to date myself on that one.
Menudo. Oh, God.
And what happened was, they would basically, if they were doing a video, they wouldn't even break the set down. They go, here, hold a bottle of Pepsi, grab Coca-Cola, grab the can, and do 1-2 takes. it would all be sent to me. I would edit it, and then all of a sudden they go, we know this guy. Somehow I crossed over. So I did a bunch, like hundreds of one-hit wonders, but I got to build myself up to, like, through the commercial work of working with stars, and then I wound up, you know, Thompson Twins, Human League, Aretha Franklin, George Michaels, a lot of, like, insane one-hit, not just one-hit wonders, but groups.
Yeah.
And some I was like dying to work with.
I have a couple here. You got Gene Wilder, and you have Cindy Crawford.
Well, Cindy Crawford was all commercial work.
Yeah.
And she's only been, like, I think in one movie with Baldwin. I think it was Billy Baldwin. But with her, it was basically commercial work for Revlon. So we became friends because I wasn't so much to be on the set as production, but I would edit it. And if she would have to come in, and I would say, Cindy, you need to record, like, this line over. I can't hear it, or it's, you know. And so through all these commercials that she has done, we became friends, and she's the sweetest person on the planet.
Yeah, I bet.
And what you see, just because we identify them in the media, they're us. They're Buzz and Billy right here.
Right.
The bees. Right here. They're us. And I don't care if you're a short order cook and you're yelling at somebody. That doesn't give you the right, because you're a star and you're super popular. So I'm on their level. That's it, and that's when you become friends. I don't know if you showed Gene Wilder. That was just a side conversation with a person at Universal Studios. His name is George. I'll leave out the last name. And I got to meet Spielberg and Lucas. It was a blast. I was like in the lot. Yeah. So real quick, I got I want to say the 5-minute tour of the lot. I mean, it's hundreds of thousands of square feet.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
So there it is. The whole Frankenstein Bela Lugosi set.
Wow.
The whole thing. Cobwebs, everything, the electric thing, the switches. So I basically said to George, because Mel was talking about, I want to do a Frankenstein movie. I just happen to be a monstrous Gene Wilder fan.
Yes.
From the producers and Willy Wonka, et cetera, et cetera. So Mel was talking, I didn't speak to him directly, but I told George, when you speak to Mel, tell him I suggested that instead of building the whole set, you're going to save hundreds of thousands, if not millions, on building an authentic Frankenstein set. Yeah. It's a period piece. Nobody's using it. Guess what? Years later, I get a photo, because I said I was a Gene Wilder fan, signed from Mel, thanking me for the idea I didn't get a credit for it. It doesn't matter, but these are stories that you'll never, I got to write these down.
Of course.
But
do you have a memoir? Do you do memoirs?
I
journal?
I do it with my other Labor of Love journals.
What's that?
My Labor of Love, which a lot of people don't know.
Journals?
No, journals for my funeral service.
We're going to talk about that.
Yeah, but with him, I was just a big fan to show his appreciation. Yeah, I would have liked some royalties out of it, but no, it was an idea, and it was nice that he came back and knew I really liked him. And if you look at the photo, it's great because it's shot in color.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Julia.
You can just see that's like a live picture, and Gene happened to sign it.
That's incredible. I mean, just meeting legends like that. I've met some too, and it really is incredible that once you meet like Sammy Davis Jr., I met him, and he was such a nice guy, Yeah,
they're just
real people.
I know,
and that's real people.
And because we're in the arts now, if I was a
except for Christopher Walken, but I'm not going to get into that.
No, he
I got a problem with Christopher
All right, you
Walken,
do?
and everybody knows it. But
I had one with. We were talking about Frankenstein. I had a problem with Fred Gwynn.
Oh, okay.
Which was Herman Munster on the Munsters, because I was recording him for, I don't know, US Air. And I went to a recording studio, and of course he has him and his team and everything. And he's in the booth, but he couldn't see outside of the booth. And he's basically in there to say US Airs, that's what to take, whatever his line was. So he does one for a test on the mic. So the door is cracked, but he can't see me in the background along with all his people. And I went, Hyman! I was doing Grandpa. So when I did Grandpa, he gets out, all 6'10" of them, and he goes, get him out of here.
Really?
I go, Okay, so I left, and basically after the three line recording, I said, "Listen, Mr. Gwynn, I really apologize. I was completely out of line. I'm sorry." And the agent said, "Look, he's on the wagon, off the wagon, I forget, but heavy smoker, heavy drinker, and he was just in a bad mood. And do I give him like?" He just went, but he showed his approval.
Yeah.
I really was apologetic. I by no means didn't mean to make fun of him. But again, you said you had a problem with Christopher Walken. But look, he was having a bad day. But a lot of people have bad days. But you got to put your game face on. You got to.
He wasn't having a bad day. I'm not going to get into it because we don't have enough of a show to get into that story. I want to get into George Michael, though, and the story that you have with George, and well, not with him, but that you worked on a piece that was created for Coke, I think.
Yeah, so I did one of the videos when I was getting into the big 80s, and it was not a popular one. So I did and I wasn't with him, and he had his people approve the video.
Right.
So then I had Coca-Cola, it depends, was one of my accounts, and they go, "Hey, we want to do like a Coca-Cola spot with George Michaels." He was like the biggest thing next to, Wonder Bread when it came out, I guess.
Sure.
And the interesting thing is, I don't know if you saw it or ran it, but it's not him in certain shots.
Really?
They're mocked up. So I had to match his performance.
Interesting.
So his performance wasn't for Coca-Cola. It's just that our inserts of him walking on stage, his back turning, the black jacket, the studs, his foot was shot later, like somebody's foot just hitting a Coca-Cola can, and that's the magic of editing.
Is that right?
So
we do have a spot.
And I did become very close friends with him for 16 hours straight. So one full night of me and George Michaels. He couldn't even hide himself. He's that beautiful. He was that beautiful. I mean, he can't go anywhere. If you put your sunglasses on at night, people are going to look at you. So I go, you can't wear your sunglasses, but you got to put a hat on. So as soon as you
spent 16 hours with George Michael.
Yeah, I had a
that's a lot
sneak
of time,
him out of my office, give him the elevator key, had a car waiting downstairs because he says, "I just got to get out of here." And because he didn't care about the Coca-Cola commercial. So I go, okay. So and everybody's like, there were 12 people in the room. They go, "Where's George?" And I'm like, he went to the bathroom. He'll be back. So I disappear. We go downstairs in the car. 16 hours later, at the Chelsea diner.
But at the
breakfast.
time, you're an editor.
Yeah. Well, he knew I did the video too, but he just we were having fun just collaborating. He didn't really care, and the people were there just watching him, and he just wanted to escape, and I helped him.
16 hours later.
And he was one of the most beautiful guys I've ever met.
Is that right?
He is the personality.
That's good to hear.
Somebody quoted him. I think it was Bon Jovi said he has the voice of an angel. I mean, his vocals.
Yeah, he was incredible.
Were second to none.
It's too bad what happened. Yeah.
No, 52 years old, Christmas Day or something. But anyhow, these are people that we identify with, but it happens, not to get morbid, but there are angels walking around here at 52 and do so much. It's just that we don't identify them in the media, and it's sad that you just got to respect everybody. You don't know who it is. No.
Yeah, no, it's true. We do have a clip of that Coke commercial, so let's run it.
Won't you give me a break? Somebody give me a break.
Those beginning shots set it up.
That's incredible. That's great edit. I mean, to incorporate the fake shots to make it all look like it was
So I was
him.
with the production. So we took the video and we basically looked at it for look. It was like Saving Private Ryan. Spielberg was like, I need a 1940 period piece. So it was shot on 16.
Right.
I like to go into that because some of the rigs that were built when they lit Demolition off, Spielberg was hip enough when they lit these bombs off, the actual camera would shake,
right.
And
I heard
so
about
you
that,
not only got natural sound, but you could do that in effects, but you're getting it organically live. In George Michael's case, we just looked at the set, saw his walk-up build, how to tighten up a 4.5 minute video into 30 seconds.
And again, you edit by frames. It's
frames. 24 frames a second film.
So,
but it looks seamless, though.
Yeah. So obviously you had an eye for doing what you do professionally. You also worked on some independent stuff back in the day, like this movie, this short film called Likeness. It was a horror suspense film. Your daughter was in it. Your family was in it.
Yeah.
And we don't have a clip of that, but it did win the New York Film and Video Awards. You did quite well with it. And if I remember correctly, if you weren't in the shot, you did all the camera work?
Yeah, so I shot over 90% of that. So wherever you see if my cousin came over, it took a year to do and music took the longest. But if you see me in a shot, there's a good chance when I'm solo that either my kid was holding it,
right,
or I just had it rigged. If it's moving around, my kid's holding it. My dad would do it one day, and somebody would hold it.
Wow.
And but 90% of it was also shot on video. I used a time-based corrector to make it look like bad 16mm film,
right?
Because it doesn't really look like videotape. It was a Sony.
We have a picture
camera.
We could put up of that.
It was
picture 4, I think.
It was fun having the family in it, and the crazy part was it was, again, you get these ideas of it was a doll, and I read this doll that was made. My wife mocked it out of a kid that you send it away. It comes back, and I go,
and it looks
like
just
my kid.
like
I would come home late, and the doll was standing there, and I go, "What the hell are you doing up?" And I go, "Wait, this would be a great horror flick." So I opened up the little booklet. It could have been called whatever, something like Acme Doll Company, and then I'm reading it. It says this doll will have a likeness. That's the name of the movie. A likeness to your kid. I go, all right, this has creeped me out. I got to write something. And I pulled no favors. I just watched 50 shorts, wrote it as a full length, cut it as a short, and I go, this'll stand up. Oh, yeah. And it took me from New York to LA, and
that's awesome.
People would I would sit in like the 12th row and just watch everybody just with their mouth open.
Yeah.
It wasn't graphic, but it was very psychological.
It was. It sure was. I mean, it
was fun.
The first time I'm watching it, and then the best was the reaction of your family when you came up the steps.
Yeah, that was done in 2 takes because my mother-in-law wrecked one of them because she's like this. And I was like, look.
No, it's not the look we want.
The best acting is not acting.
Right.
And I had transitioned that into black and white, but if you see me, not to get graphic, you never see the actual violence of it. But I had chocolate syrup on my shirt, which emulates a good look for blood in black and white.
In black and white, sure.
Soda, we were using corn syrup and stuff. It wasn't real soda. Right. All the little secrets.
Yeah, all the little tricks. So now you're in development of another horror film.
Yes.
And it's called Numbers of the Damned. And it's a true story.
Based on a true story.
Based on a true story. And it's a series. You're pitching this as a series.
And if I may, just to sum it up real quick, again, you get ideas. You see something, and the whole key is when you get an idea, no matter how big, how little, just keep it, try to manifest it. So in Middletown, Connecticut, there is an insane asylum, and there are a bunch of stones, tombstones, but they're all the same size. It's not like the unmarked graves of the soldiers where you see just a crucifix. These were just regular stones, yay big, and it had a number fixed to it. And when I first saw this off the beaten path, off of the cemetery, I said, what is this? To the production guy, we have 4 of us, once I came up with this idea and they were executing it. And I said, wait, so 1992, the state of Connecticut, Middletown, recognized these people just by numbers that they were real people. So they scribed on this stone the person's name next to the number. There's 4,000, maybe more, buried. a sea of these generic tombstones with numbers
Just
from
numbers
0 to.
Yeah. That's a cool title, Numbers of the Damned, because
And I
they
feel
were
like
damned. They were
so
damned.
each show, whether it's a film,
Right.
I see it as American Horror. I see it as a series.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
each show would be featured a number. Let's look at the life of a patient. Number
Flew Over the-
1201.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest comes to
it's-
mind.
Yeah, I
it
mean,
could be.
but the time period of the 1950s was exciting because it was not exciting in a good way, but it was experimental.
Mhm.
And that's the time period we picked. It's all going to be done in that spirit. It's not going to be all graphic, but you'll see the story in the eyes of a couple giving away their kid. The staff, the patient, it's got legs. And it gives me chills just thinking about it. And I've thought about it 3 years ago, and it's finally taken about 7 months with Derek, Brian, and Lee, my other three. And then let's see what happens.
Yeah.
But it always stems from something, and making it happen is the best. So far, hey, third time's a charm.
Hey, you know what?
Just keep doing it.
Just keep doing it,
If you
man.
can.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're all a necessity. We all have to do stuff to, survive, right?
And that's a good lead into what presently, but not presently, what you're doing now, but it's a complete 180. I mean, I think I want to place this right because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
We were all scrambling for work, and some people couldn't find work.
Yeah, there was no
work, and you had no work at that time.
Mine was all virtual.
Yeah.
If they were, we had to have double directors, double DPs, because we would have testing nurses on site built in. So if you picked one and he happened to test positive, you'd have to have number 2 come in, and hopefully these could wreck production shoots and liability.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Yeah. So I was still working virtual editorially. That's always kind of been because you can just send files in and out. I don't necessarily have.
Yeah, you could do that at home. Right.
So I have a blown out, corner studio like at my house. I can go right on the air. But this was interesting because I found some intel, not to go into it, but my brother is a funeral director, and I said, well, I have enough schooling and stuff, but I would probably have to take another 1.5 years of like medical stuff for becoming a male nurse. Right. I'm not smart enough to be a doctor. I'm not that smart. And what happened was, my brother, I asked him, he's in New York. I go, do you know anybody in Connecticut? I live in Connecticut. And he says, I do. I want to see if I could do some gigs. It's terrible.
Yeah, they call them gigs.
Well, I hit it at the perfect storm. It's like the worst and best.
During COVID. Yeah.
So I would basically do what's called as removals. Wow. And you're basically going to a nursing home, hospital, or house. And we didn't know what it was, like when AIDS had happened in that kind of business.
Yes.
So I'm walking in like you see on those shows with a spacesuit on, covered up. I would take all my stuff off on the front porch. That's if I didn't stay up the whole night. I was doing about 2 to 4 removals a night for a period of a month or 2, and then slowly but surely. But can I just add one thing? Not to get morbid and deep. I think the saddest part, aside from obviously losing somebody, this was my way to give back. I'm not a first responder. I actually titled myself The Last Responder.
The Last Responder.
That could be a good movie, actually. So
we joke.
You need some comic relief. It's a dying business. Now let me tell you something.
There. I heard them.
But all. It was a way to give. It was a way to give back. But one of the saddest things was not knowing this crazy virus, but was family members that couldn't say goodbye to one another, because like mom and daughter couldn't hug, and you'd be outside, and it would be me, the funeral director, 2 cemetery workers, and 1 family member, and 40 cars. But they wouldn't allow the people to get out of the cars. So the goodbye was like this, like the fake kiss.
Yeah.
And I think for me, that was the saddest part. And lastly, I treat every service, and I can tell you who I work for. It's Service Corp International. And I work in Stamford, Greenwich, and that area. But for me, is I treat every service, no matter what it is, visitation, removal, burial, cremation, as if it was my own family.
Wow.
And I just stay true to that. I don't take it for granted. It's a business, but it's not really a job. It's an inner calling. Nobody told me to do this. I just felt like this is a great way to help people in the acme of times.
These are some of the stories of that time frame in 4 years ago, I guess.
Yeah.
Right? 4 years ago. You really didn't hear those stories of funeral directors, of how the funeral was actually put on and who came, and there was no wakes, virtual. You didn't really heard those stories.
You didn't, but you heard about everything else.
But you heard everything else, right?
The kids aren't going to school. Yeah. Are you doing a visitation? Can the family get together in a funeral home? No. Can you eat at a restaurant? No. Let's build an igloo out here. So you just didn't hear about it because nobody really talks about it. Right. I just found it a way that there was some serious crap going on out of the country, and I said it's gonna get here. It was a prediction with some intel. I can't say it because I'd have to kill everybody here, including myself.
We don't want you to do that, Billy.
No, I don't want to. But I would get
It's not that type of
But I would get a 50% discount. Sorry, I know. I'm sorry. That wasn't right. However, I do treat it serious. I say it with a smile, but you do. And I only engage in people if they want to say something, this is the way you play. I'm seen and not heard. But if you talk to me, I'll respond.
Yeah.
I'm around people all the time in social media and doing everything in front of the camera and back. So this actually makes me, doing services, a better listener.
Yeah.
I know it probably doesn't make sense to a lot of people who don't know me. The ones that do know me, and there are a lot out there, it makes perfect sense. I'm a better listener because of it.
Well, sure. I mean, you're dealing with families of all types, religions, and situations where you have to listen because you have to be, I guess a proper person for them to lean on because of what happened.
Right.
And during that time, I mean, man, it was like, that was crazy times. Thank God, you know, we're not there anymore.
No, it's amazing.
Yeah.
But here I am.
And here we are.
No, here we are.
A complete 180.
Good.
This is an amazing interview we did today, and I'm so glad you came.
What time is it? That's it?
I think
I got another 12 hours.
You got another 12 hours in you?
Sorry.
I ran out of clips, but we can talk. No.
Yeah, it's great to see. I love that we muted the crowd back there because it's like,
a tough crowd. It's a tough crowd.
I mean,
back there.
Hey, Fred. I just wanted to say one other thing going back. So I'm not a comedian. I'm not an actor. I'm just Billy. Not even Billy the Bill. I'm Billy.
I think you're an actor. Your personality.
No, because I said the best acting is not acting.
I understand that. But
however,
you are a personality.
However, the Teledyne spot where I'm walking around the box has to be the hardest for any, again, I'm not a comedian, but for any professional comedian because there was 50 people on that set. So if I said something funny, you could not laugh because it would come through the sound. You couldn't block that out. So they were like, all right, cut, and then they would crack up. So like I'm saying, I wish like a real true comedian did that and they would go, I'm not gonna do this. This is, imagine saying every funny joke and nobody laughing. Like it was really hard for me to do that. Anyway, I had to share that. I know I backtracked.
No, and it's great because you really, you're keeping your personality alive through a lot of the different characters that you portray. And I think with this Uni Built Matters thing, I know Bond was one little thing that you did, but I love that character.
Well, I was going to do Brooklyn. It was going to be one blue slip. It was in Brooklyn. I was going to be dressed up as a mermaid.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying? Billy the maintenance man. I mean, so I would pick. So this was just... I did politicians, apprentices, all that stuff. So you just try to touch everything. And by the way, I have to say compliments, kudos to you, because dude, where we evolved. Like you're here talking to me.
Yes,
we could swap, and I could talk about you.
Yeah.
What you started, where you started, what you created, and where you are now. Dynamite, man.
Thanks.
And I don't
Thanks,
throw that
man.
away to everybody.
No, I appreciate that.
You know
Look,
that.
we
I've known
learned
you
we
since-
learned a lot during that time, and
Yeah.
I think I evolved. You know, doing other things, and but you know.
No, you just keep going up,
Yeah,
up, and up. Well, I know you. I'm not swallowing your head.
I know.
And by the way, I want to show everybody, this is done on purpose because the weather, let me tell you something. I can't do a thing with my hair. Nothing. It's completely not manageable. But I thought the hipster hat looked pretty good because I was born in Brooklyn. I might live in Connecticut, but I'm a Park Slope guy. So
and there you go.
And a New Yorker. But
well, Billy, thank you again for stopping in. Buzz Talk Live.
Love it, man.
Awesome. This is great seeing you again, and thanks again. I appreciate that. This was an amazing show, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you all for tuning in to Buzz Talk Live. And please, we'll be back again shortly with another Buzz Talk Live. Good night, everybody.